Good evening. Today is Monday, May 9th, 2022. I want to thank the people of Marshfield for allowing me to stay on the board. It was a beautiful day at the polls. Not many people really voted, but I'm very happy to be here. Tonight we have one appointment at 6:15, the DAV. The abatement issue was continued over from about a month ago. Action items, we're going to reorganize the board after the election. I'm going to do the estimates of phase 3 sidewalks rehabilitation in Marshfield Hills. New septic hauler permit, Avon Septic. Resolution to seek additional roadway funding at the fall special town meeting. Amendment for engineering oversight at Plymouth Avenue, Forest Main. Those are the action items. Discussion, going to review restrictions for over 55 developments in regard to town services as they were approved by the planning board. Dave's meeting with the selectmen. Remember Steve Darcy? Is that the Jeremiah Path issue?
No, it's a different animal.
They're a different animal, okay.
Yeah.
Actions being taken by the state legislature on PFAS, which is it's not just the state, but it's a major issue across the whole country. We're going to do meeting minutes for March 28th, April 25th, and April 26th. Is that correct? Those were the town meeting. Then we'll have a superintendent's report, and our next meeting is May 23rd, and we meet every other week. So if you're at home and you have an issue, come down and see us. So with the first action, that's the agenda. Do I have a second on the agenda?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the first action item is to reorganize the positions on the board. There are 3 positions: the chairman, the vice chairman, and the member of the clerk. After every election, we rotate the positions. The next one that's up for re-election would be Dave Carrier, and he is up for being chair. So I would just like to make one swoop, vote, and just switch positions. Myself, I will go from chair to clerk. John Kuzak would go from clerk to vice chair, and Dave Carey would go from vice chair to chair. So I would put a nomination: Dave Carey as chairman or chairperson, John Kuzak as vice chairperson, and myself as clerk. We have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So now I turn over the meeting to our new chair, Dave Carrier.
Thank you. And thank you to both my fellow members for making me chair.
You deserve it, Dave.
Okay, John.
Hey, they took the chair away from me one meeting.
I know, I
You
know.
know, now the year and
It didn't happen when I was in.
I know.
I think we have time enough to look at the estimate for the phase 3 sidewalks up at Marshfield Hills. And this sidewalk basically will connect Prospect Street down to the fire station and along Old Main, and the playground immediately behind it, of course. And basically it is a fairly open area. It will be, as we have estimated from the engineering side. Do you want me to read this, Tom, or do you want to do it?
Oh, you can go ahead.
Okay. Tom Molinari, one of the staff engineers in the town, went up working with Mass Pavement Reclamation. He came up with the following scope of work, which is when existing conditions allow, it is proposed that approximately 600 linear feet of 5-foot wide sidewalk with a 2-foot grass strip and approximately 1-foot berm would be installed. And it be noted that in certain situations we will not be able to achieve the 2-foot grass strip between the backside of the sidewalk and the edge of the road. It's because of the topography and the shape of the existing sidewalk that's there. The sidewalk in this case would be paved to the back of the berm curb. We would could, in lieu of a 1-foot Cape Cod berm, install 6-inch bit curb, but that would be, if that would be preferred. The Cape Cod berm is better for us from the standpoint of plowing and how well it will endure. And the estimate on that, including labor and materials, right at this time is $40,000. And I think that, you know,
We have the money?
well, this is an action will take place after the start of the new fiscal year, Tom, is that correct?
This will be something that we'll have to ask for the funding at town
SDM?
meeting, either in the fall or in the annual.
Okay, but presumably if we can get the funding in the STM, then we would tackle it in the fall before the winter came?
Probably not.
Probably not?
I don't think we'd have enough time. There's not a lot to do up there. Depending on what else is going on.
Yeah.
No, but
So
the late October, once we get everything
yeah.
set up, you know, usually paved till around the 15th of December, so we might have enough time to make that.
Yeah, but I mean, right now, we have a limited amount of funds available, the $100,000.
I don't have any money to do that.
Well, we got the $100,000 that comes in July 1.
Right. Well,
That's the only funds we have.
Right.
And this would use up, 40% of it right away.
If we're earmarking that project towards.
Well, if we were to do it that way, yeah. I mean, we also have a very strong backlog of private ways that some of that funding should go for.
So are we gonna vote to support this?
I guess this is the estimate. I had actually thought it was going to be on discussion, but that's okay. I think we can vote to support as soon as, both logistics and funding allows, that we will proceed with this estimate, and an update as needed.
I would say this is in a draft form right now, so until I would ask that you wait till maybe the next meeting or a meeting.
After the fiscal year.
Or after the fiscal year, that way we can, this is just a quick estimate
Right.
that Tom put together in the office.
Yeah.
So to get him out and get the actual cost of materials and all.
So this is a magnitude of cost, and that's what we
Right.
should label it. Okay.
Right.
Right.
So we can
So
tighten those.
we'll defer
numbers.
action until we have a more detailed estimate. But that gives us the ballpark of the numbers, and I would assume that this is probably a plus or minus 10 grand.
Yeah, I would say, so there's no contingency in that or
Yeah.
anything. We're figuring we can design it in-house,
Yeah.
savings there of having to go out to design.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we all inclusive?
That's it. I think we have time to take the new septic hauler's
So
permit.
could I make a comment?
You may, I'm sorry.
Good. I have a couple comments. One is the safe state streets. Tommy, where are we on that? Would this be able to be funded through that?
We're in the tier 2 process right now. They're reviewing we're beginning our plan. We submitted tier 1 and tier 2. We've been granted the $37,000 to do our plan.
Yeah.
And then by October, we'll apply for the $400,000 from the Complete Streets program. And then we'll be eligible for $400,000 every 3 years.
When do they grant the application?
In October.
So it would be in the fall?
Yeah, once they approve our plan,
Yeah.
then we become eligible for that $400,000.
Okay. So, and we should have a public hearing, whatever we do.
Well, that $400,000 in the Complete Streets is already earmarked to the.
No, I understand that, but I'm talking about this particular job.
Right.
For phase 3, we should have a full plan marked up so that we can put it on cable TV and have a public hearing like this so that people actually see and have comments on it, so that if someone doesn't like what we're going to do or they love it, they can say one way or the other. So those are my comments.
I'm sorry, when will that be?
When they get it ready, probably before we go to town meeting in the fall.
You'll have a plan.
We'll
I
have
think the public hearing might occur when we actually have what we consider a complete plan, as opposed to a magnitude of cost plan. Exactly when that will happen, I don't know. I'd like to think that we get it done in the first quarter of the new fiscal year, which starts July 1.
I would think in July, we could have something at one of the meetings, either in July or August.
Yeah.
As the town meeting warrant will open and we, be able to submit funding requests.
There's no trees issues on this one.
No, there's no trees issues.
There's
There's
one-
really just one area where there was an old tree that had lifted the pavement up that is long gone now.
Is there any widening of it, of the sidewalk?
It's going to be 5 foot wide,
Is
which
it-
I believe
is
is
that-
about 2 feet wider than it is right now.
So which way would that go?
We'll go
It
towards the street.
remains on the town property, so it'd have to go toward the street as opposed to going in. It depends on the actual layout of the roadway in that area. The paved area is not just where the town property is.
Right.
Question? David, I should have said name and address for the record.
Tom Whalen on Main Street. I know you got $100,000 for town meeting.
Yep.
Did that come out of free cash?
Yes,
So they're sitting on $900,000 free cash,
they were,
and you only got $100,000 out of that.
correct.
That's for all the roads in Marshfield.
I understand that. But how come that you never got any funding prior to town meeting, from a commitment from them?
Good question to which this board nor any of the staff can give you a good answer because we do not control the votes that take place for that. They take place at the Capital Budget Committee under usually guidance from the town administrator and the treasurer collector, and likewise at the advisory board. I can attest, and I know Tom can attest as well, on more than one of those meetings and occasions when we have spoken about the fact that we can't fix things if you don't give us funding, it's been ignored.
That's true.
I request $300,000 every
I
year.
know that, yeah.
But I can say that the 4 years I did as superintendent, every year with the advisory board and with, when we're looking at back then we were getting $35,000 specifically as a town meeting warrant article for the purpose of repairs to unpaved private ways. Now, I would have to say it to the advisory board each and every time. Massachusetts state law says we have to have an article that says you can spend the money because it's private property. And that's the only way you can do it. There has to be a voted town meeting to do so. And despite that, they seem surprised at the town meeting.
Was that 65,000 every year?
It went up. It was
Yeah.
35,000.
It was 35,000 for maintenance of private ways, and it was 30,000 for paving of private ways.
Yeah.
For a total of 65.
Okay, yeah, I remember the
It's
65.
2 increments.
So is it possible to get funding for the sidewalks out of the free cash?
Without a town meeting, the answer to that is no, okay? However, we do have the fall special town meeting at which we plan to go, that's one of the action items on here is, for looking for more additional funding when we get to the fall STM.
Thank you.
We do need support at the town meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we don't get the
That's
votes, we don't get the
That's the
money.
key to it.
Okay. We're within 2 minutes of the 6:15 appointment. I think we can handle a septic solid.
Sure, we can do that.
Yeah, Tom. And then we'll go to the meeting, the appointment.
That's Avon,
That's three.
documents are in the book. Avon Septic and Pump LLC. Joseph Aiello is the principal. He's been reviewed by the wastewater department and approved as of 5/3/2022.
I have no problem.
Mr. Chauncey, you okay with it?
No problem.
I move that we vote to award the new permit to Avon Septic. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay. Let's have our appointment for the
You need to
DAV.
sign that. Right. That way it's all done.
You got a smooth copy, Tom? For the septic?
No, I have it here, I'll give it to
Okay,
you.
all right, when we're done, you can get it to me, yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do our appointment. Does somebody from them want to come up front?
Want me to stand or sit?
Sit down.
Okay. John, you want to take the lead on this one?
Yeah, I've already looked, I think we looked at the last
Yep.
meeting at all the paperwork. I did go down and meet with Henry and Dennis. So this is a non-profit group. They also allow the Peter Argo Park to use the bathrooms for handicapped access. That would keep Peter Argo Park open. Also, this problem developed during COVID, and during COVID, there was probably no one there, or no one to really find out exactly what was going on. Their financial report shows that, you know, they're really running at a negative. So, what I would like to see is, well, Tom, you could chime in. What did we talk about? What would you like to see on this?
You wanted to go back to their original bill? Is
Yeah.
that what you?
Yeah, we want to go back to you paid your bill. So now, we want to go back to take that away and offer not to charge them until they use up that.
Well, you would credit, whatever you
Yeah.
abated, you would credit to their account. I think that's how you'd want to do it.
Yeah, that's what we
So
talked
you
about.
wouldn't give them back any money, you would
No,
just credit them
I
all.
didn't mean it that way,
Right.
we're not going to physically,
Right.
because this is the hardship for them, and it's a hardship even for them to pay that $8,000.
Understood. But memory is, if I had reviewed this, so I'm sure I'm right on. But, you know, the initial billing, they received a letter that was sent out from the town on 27th of May, notifying of it. And then the following month, they still had a high bill, high usage, I should say. And I guess I'm inclined to certainly abate the first period. But I question whether it's appropriate to abate the second period where there was notice sent out.
I have a couple of questions.
Fire
Who
away.
owns the facility?
Town of Marshfield. Rental's $1 a year?
Yes.
So if they don't pay, the landlord's going to be responsible for the bill.
They already paid it.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying, it's the town, so it's a shared responsibility, is my point. So I would be in favor of an abatement. I think that,
For the full
um,
high use or just?
well, the thing is, the difference between
I'm
the
asking
first and
for-
second letter, there was a miscommunication between the first and second letter that,
Yeah, because we
that-
never
last
got on
last
the...
time it came out, what's your first name? Henry?
I'm William Green.
William?
I'm William Green, 11 Grotto Road.
Yeah, Williams had said that the treasurer didn't understand what the thing was. So there was miscommunication. So I think that, you know, the first one, I agree that we should get some kind of abatement. I think the second one, we could negotiate something in between so that that it will be, is not as hardship on you folks.
Okay.
That's where I'm at.
Okay, so
I think that, you know, we own the building, we're the landlord, though you don't pay much, but you are doing a service for the town.
Yes.
I think this is a shared responsibility, I think we should make it whole, well, all of us whole.
one thing I want to get on the record, because I happened to be sitting at the Board of Selectmen's meeting the night he was voted in, but Dave Damon is now the manager, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, and then,
if I may real quick.
yep,
So we had our installation of officers yesterday at the DAV. So Jen here is the senior vice commander. She's the second in charge.
yep,
Dennis is the commander.
yep.
Dennis McGowan.
And I moved down to
Jamie
junior
Ducey
vice.
is the
I was the
junior
previous
vice
commander
commander.
for 6 years.
And I'm a service officer.
Okay.
Dave is the bar manager.
Okay, yeah, this was his position. You know, presumably, as part of his duties, you should have him checking all of the water-using facilities, since he's our water inspector and quite familiar with all of the issues going forward.
Yes.
With that involvement on his part, let's put it this way, while I am willing to entertain something tonight, I would not give you a second bite at the apple, so to speak.
No, we understand
I
that.
think you...
Plus, you guys
should
already
be willing-
changed, you guys changed the meter too in between all this time now?
Yeah.
So you guys changed the meter, so now it's like right on track.
Yeah.
So we'll credit them that.
So the memory serves me correctly, it was a May and then June billing?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. The May billing was high, if I recall correctly. And the letter went out at the end of May. And then you followed with an additional issue in June, and it was high usage. What is your feeling on how much you're willing to do on the second piece of high usage, Mr. Shaughnessy?
I would give him 60% of the second building as an abatement.
How do you feel about that, John?
I didn't hear what.
He would give, for the second high use, which was the June meter reading, the next meter reading in sequence, I should say, he was willing to abate 60% of that.
The second bill, the first
Second
bill.
bill, the first bill.
First one will abate the whole thing. Second one will give him 60%.
Well, basically, we're returning back to what had been the historic use.
Right, the historical,
The
right.
delta between the two.
Mhm.
Okay. Is that acceptable to you, John?
Okay, 60%, all right.
So for the second use?
For the second.
And for the first use, it's the delta between their historic use and the high reading they had. So in other words, they'd be being billed, the actual bill would have been for what would have been normal.
Yeah,
use,
whatever
and
it
the rest
was.
would be a credit going
600,
forward.
Whatever it was
Yeah.
before.
I'm sorry? Yeah.
It was like $600-700, I think, every billing.
Well, we're looking at the
At the month
we're looking at the
itself.
usage.
Yeah.
Okay. Not the dollars. Okay. So I will make a motion.
Would that give them a credit on the first?
Yeah, the first month ends up with the credit, the second month ends up with, the second high billing rather, because they're not monthly. The first high billing is credited
Yep.
to the, basically, the surplus amount above what their normal use had been. Is that correct, Tom? Okay, and you agree with that, John?
All right.
And you're good with that, Bob?
Yep.
Okay, and then the second use is, high use is going to be 60% of the high use will be credited back.
So they're responsible for 40%.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Lee Green, 11 Grotto Road, so our bill of $81.98 issued 5/27 will be abated at 100%? No.
No, it'll be abated at the delta between your historic use and the high use that was there. So let's say, 20,000 gallons was your normal use, and 60,000 gallons is what you were billed, 40,000 would be abated. Just, that's a wag example, it's not the actual numbers.
And then the second one will be 60% of
Whatever the high
the
use
delta.
Whatever that one was.
And that'll be a credit.
I make a motion to
That'll
that.
be a credit.
That'll be a credit, but they will be a credit against the next set of billings.
Okay.
You got all of that, Dan?
Yep.
Okay. I make a motion to abate it in the manner we just discussed. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Tell Dave I'm going to hold his feet to the fire.
Yeah, all right.
I will get down there and check it.
So what do they get about 6,000 off?
I don't know the number off the top
Yeah,
of my head.
I'm thinking just.
Yeah, whatever, it turns out to be, will be the math, okay. Okay. And
Where are we?
we would be on number 4. Resolution to seek additional town roadway funds for the fall STM. My feeling, Tom, is we should be going for the additional, at least $200,000 that would have been in the granted capital had they listened to you in the budget process.
Yeah, I know that this is a need that's very much needed. It varies every year what they give us, and we've got 200, we've got 100, we've got nothing this year. My only concern would be some of the other projects that we have on the docket may be penalized
I understand, yeah.
Going forward with this. So I think as we get closer to town meeting, I think we have to prioritize what we need at town meeting. I mean, if we can wait till the spring
Yeah.
to get some of these things, that's all well and good, but I think we need to prioritize what our most important issues are.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, I guess my position I'd like to see us take on this would be that it's our intent to seek the additional 200,000, which we would modify to match whatever the financial circumstances are as we come up with the certified, results for fiscal 2000.
the Board of Selectmen is already, they're supporting $120,000 for the design of the sidewalk in Brent Rock at the fall town meeting. They voted that at a selectmen's meeting about a month ago, maybe a little longer than that. That was originally requested at this town meeting.
Right.
And we were asked to push it out, but they've guaranteed that it's going to be on the warrant.
Okay. So they have said that they will place,
They will
pending
place.
our submittal,
Right,
because we are the submitters.
Right.
Roadways are ours.
right.
Okay. Now, I guess the bottom line still comes down, so that would be basically staying with, that kind of intimates to me the modification of the request would be for additional funding for highway would be for $100,000 as a nominal number.
Yeah, then, like I said, we can look at it a little closer we've got a lot of roads that I know the board has a program in place, a moratorium on paving side streets. And only collector roads and mains are what this board has voted to do, based on the funding. Chapter 90, we get $750,000+. Chapter 90, we can only use on accepted roadways. This year, we just got $440,000 from that winter road recovery program that the governor put in, and he did it in 14, I think, was the last time he did it. So I've got 2 roads already earmarked for that money. And, so when the Chapter 90 money comes in, there's sidewalk stuff, there's crosswalks with those flashing beacons, that we have a couple locations we'd like to see those go up. There's other sidewalks we've talked about, not only Old Main Street, but we've talked about along Ocean, on the right-hand side of Ocean, the westbound side, you might call it. There's so many different projects, and having the lack of funding over the last 10+ years only sets us back even further. And now with the cost of everything up 30 to 40%, it now creates another issue with funding and how much you can get done for your buck now.
And basically, from what I've seen so far, the price of macadam is matching the kind of escalation that you see for roadway fuel, diesel and gasoline, which makes sense because it's a petroleum product.
And it's a trickle-down thing too, all the materials. We got notice the other day from Mack Truck that if we buy a Mack truck, don't expect it to come with tires. Because they cannot get the mineral that makes the tires black. It comes from one place in the whole world, Ukraine.
That's carbon black.
They can't get this mineral. The rubber companies can't get it.
So we'll have white tires.
White tires.
Not
So,
for long.
that's just one of the issues we're dealing with.
No, I understand.
And, we had to order a separate, different tires for the loader we ordered.
Okay. Well, I'm still of the position that we need to seek the additional funding as needed, and the bottom line to me would be, if we do not have any of the 100,000 we got at the annual town meeting left over, by the time we get into the a special town meeting, we should at least go back for enough to allow us to take care of the unpaved private ways, because we know we're gonna have to tackle those through the winter season.
We're working on those, we just, Wayne's actually coming back in tomorrow.
But I mean, but the bottom line comes down, we all know, that gets undone starting in December,
Oh, yeah,
if not November.
definitely.
And by March, you need to do it again.
Yeah, and then you get the spring rain and
Yep.
that washes it all out too, so it's,
Yeah, I think, you know, the resolution is, I guess, our action is, for this board is that we will review the issue and still bring forward some funding for a special town meeting barring the unforeseen. Can I get a second?
Is that a motion?
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Say it again?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
What was the motion again?
The motion was that we would be bringing forward, planning to bring forward, we're going to bring forward additional funding at special town meeting barring the unforeseen.
Thank you.
That was more of a discussion.
Seconded, yeah.
And now we have the amendment for the engineering. I presume you're bringing that discussion, Tom?
Yep. This is a contract amendment for EPG General Service Agreement Engineering Services Plymouth Ave Pump Station Force Main Repair Project. The Plymouth Ave Force Main Repair Project was bid and awarded. The contract documents are being signed. Work is scheduled to start within 2 weeks. Town meeting approved special town meeting Article 16 for $3 million. We are borrowing $2 million to complete the Force Main project, to complete necessary valve replacements and wet well modifications, and engineering costs for pump station modifications. The contract amendment authorized following on a time change plus expense basis. Environmental Partners Group's proposal dated February 28, 2022. Task 3, Resident Engineer Services, $65,100. Task 4, Construction Closeout, $4,430, for a total of $69,580. The funding at special town meeting for 25-22 is for $3 million. And there is a motion written on that.
And this brings basically the EP service totals up to $144,430.
Correct.
I have gone through this online, and I have no questions. I'm okay with it as written. Anything for you, Mr. Cusick?
It's just a question, that's 400 hours I was reading here for that engineering service. It's 400 hours.
Yep.
That's $162 an hour. Is that the
Going rate.
going rate?
It's even higher.
And actually, there is a graphic on the back of the hours that each person is putting in.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
well, I'm just saying.
That's pretty much where we are. That's pretty much the rate we're paying for the engineering from Western and Sampson on the 965.
But that's like a perk of the work, that.
Yeah, they're the resident engineer, they're
Yeah.
on site, they do the as-built, still do all
I
of that.
understand that.
Yeah.
But he's also in there.
For us.
He's in there for us, but he's
I
also,
know.
I mean, he's not just, tracking the contractor, he's also making sure that the compaction was done as it had been. He's acting as a QC along with the clerk of the work.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I was just, I just questioned $162 an hour. But if that's the going rate,
It is a going rate.
Okay.
that's the answer.
It's
Mr. Shaughnessy?
$125 an hour. It's the resident engineer is
Yeah, but
$125.
then you get the overhead for his
The overhead.
process.
Oh, then you- okay, yeah.
Benefits.
The full FTE, okay.
I'm okay with it then.
Okay. Mr. Shaughnessy, any questions from you?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. I move that, I will read the motion. We authorize the amendment of the engineering services contract with EPG to include Task 3 and Task 4 for resident engineering services and project closeout for Plymouth Avenue Force Main Repair Project for an amount not to exceed $69,580, and authorize the chairman or designee to sign the contract documents when they are prepared. Second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm going back and be a resident engineer.
Good luck with that.
Government makes more.
So I started off.
He does.
Okay, the next item is mine, I guess, and This stemmed out of a request that was made numerous times by Mr. Deloach, who lives in the Outlook Farm condo development for over 55 on Samuel Curtis Way up off of Forest Street. And he was apparently unaware of the restrictions that were placed on the deeds to that property and for the successors and assigns to those deeds, which he is aware of. And I have attached a copy of the orders that were in the records at the planning board for him. And
I saw that.
And he actually went back into the planning board, and the planner, Greg Demond, handed him for the first time the restrictions of deeds because he was going in and asking for Samuel Curtis Way, and they were just looking at the roadway layout and what's associated with that. But anyway, the bottom line is that, stipulations for these over 55s were all, in fact, specific to eliminate anything associated with maintaining the roadways that ran through these deed-restricted units. And one of the reasons that was there is it was the trade-off against the fact that they had a higher density than the normal zoning for the town at the time would allow.
On Overlook Farm, what page is the, what are you referring to?
On page 6.
Page
This is
6?
tab 6.
Tab 6.
That's
Yeah,
it.
and the restrictions, if you go to, I called them out in the memo, page 5 at H and L. It specifically states the development provides drainage utility functions equivalent to that provided in the planning board subdivision rules and regulations, initial discrepancies, etc., although road construction design is not fully compliant with subdivision rules and regulations with respect to stormwater and sanitary line locations, as well as typical 100-foot leveling areas. The road will be maintained by the condo association and will not be proposed for public acceptance. That was one of the restrictions. And then L,
That's on H?
that's page 5H. The last sentence is the one which says it will be maintained by the condominium association and will not be proposed for public acceptance. And then at L, they have access roads sufficient width, vehicular traffic, but it states Samuel Curtis Way will remain private but will not be permitted to have a gated entrance. Forest Street has adequate capacity to handle the added traffic from this development. And then on page number 7, I gotta go look back.
Wait a second, I'm going slower than you.
Okay. I was
So
just.
that was the first sentence, right?
It was actually on L, it's the last sentence, Samuel Curtis Way.
Okay, I get that.
Yep, starts off.
Yeah.
And then the next one is page 7.
Okay.
And that states that the conditions have been recorded at the Registry of Deeds. And I should pull that out. Specifically at E, maintenance, there shall be a maintenance plan for drainage systems, sewage disposal, and other utilities. Upkeep of the roads, including snow plowing, shall be the responsibility of the applicant and/or the community association.
Okay.
And what I could add is that, since Jeb and I are both personal friends as well as former professional friends, I played golf with him last week, and he actually said thank you because I had followed up on this, and that meant that when he went back in to see the planner was able to show him all the documents for Overlook Farm as opposed to the road Samuel Curtis Way. And he says, okay, now I understand.
So Dave, on,
Yep.
is this the same template that they use on
These-
all the 55s?
That is my understanding, sir, yes.
Okay.
So that basically, every one of these over 55s that basically has the density that you wouldn't find in a normal subdivision has the same restrictions, and that was the part of the deal to allow them to have it, and the fact that they would remain over 55 with the assumption that you're not going to have the same burden on the school department and the like.
So how many 55s do we have in town?
I know of at least 4, I think.
Going down
You've got Spyglass, you've got this one.
Ocean State, yeah, down by Nazarella's.
Yeah, yeah.
Ocean State on Ocean Street?
It's the apartment building complex, I believe, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, it's over 55, yeah.
Yeah, they're-
Now, was the place down by the airport, is that a?
That's the one.
That's what he's referring to, yeah.
Yeah,
He's talking about the Beacon property. It was the Beacon
yeah,
property.
it was Beacon.
Yeah, with a,
I think they call it Ocean Estates.
yeah, it is. Okay.
Is that the same road as the airport itself?
No.
No, that's a
You'll
no.
drive it.
No.
Yeah, that was that was in before, I think, any of these regulations came in.
Yeah, that's a
So do we plow that road?
The access, no, I don't think so.
That's private also?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Yeah. So that's where we sit with this. And, I was just going to say, you can sign the memo and send it to him so, so it is formal and he has it.
Well, I mean, I talked to Jeb on this, and I said, well, whatever the planning board
Yeah.
had approved is what we're going to go with.
And he wasn't aware of these details in the planning
Yeah.
board at that election.
So, good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
I'm fine.
I'm not okay with it, but I'm okay with it.
It is according to regulation.
Well, the thing is, we don't have a choice, the planning board approved it that way.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. And I had a request for a meeting, actually, I think you initiated it to me, right, John?
Yes.
Yeah. Steve Darcy wanted to meet with me, and he also wanted to have town council present, which took place last week. I'm sorry.
Why
It's
would you
Tuesday
want
last
town
week.
council? They do that to me. Do they do that to you?
Yeah, but anyway, it was last, yeah, no, it was Thursday, last Thursday. And the bottom line is, Mr. Galvin's desire to see us, and also Mr. Darcy's, to see us get to a indirect policy that was one page. And my immediate answer to that was, well, if we do actual charges, we can have one page.
Yeah, direct, yeah.
Actual direct charges.
Yeah, I can write that.
In addition to that, I think it's possible, and the discussion went to that way, that, in some cases, it might be appropriate to do hybrid, which would be including the percent of budget in the right place, but that would make sure it includes the school department's budget as well, in the total calculation.
I agree.
As you had previously presented, Mr. Cusack. And I had reviewed your electronic transmittal on that before the meeting. Anyway,
Thank you, Dave.
in anticipation.
That would be
And
nice.
I also pointed out to them that we voted a policy at this board back in 2019 that any negotiation between the chair of the Board of Selectmen and the chair of the Board of Public Works would in fact not be agreed to and cemented into place by them unilaterally. Each board has to review, approve, and comment as needed.
That's the way it was done when you were
That's,
president, yeah.
But, and when the policy was developed,
yep.
Tom, myself,
Yep.
Rocco, and Steve Robbins,
Yes.
Yeah.
it was agreed that we weren't going to cast the process in stone, that each board on an annual basis would open up negotiations for any area where there could be tweaked. The tweaking is not throw the baby out with the bathwater, was to adjust the process.
So,
I think the process works. I think that we just need to tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, but it didn't work with the percentages.
It definitely did not work with this
They
percent.
took the school out. But go ahead, Dave.
where I was going to go was, for tonight, is, with the acquiescence of you two gentlemen, I will proceed to draft up, a proposal for the,
One page,
huh?
one page direct charge.
I will, maybe a little more than one page because of narrative and stuff like that. But the bottom line is the nutshell will be tried to be pinned down to 1 to 2 pages maximum. And that it will come to you guys first for review and comment. I will incorporate the comments, and then I will present it, actually in parallel, I would provide it to Mr. Darcy for his board, so that we have both boards working together in the same time frame.
I agree.
And then it comes back to each board for the finals.
Okay.
So we're going to throw out the whole process, methodology?
I didn't say that, but
Okay.
it is pretty involved, and it can be simplified a good bit.
I don't disagree with that. The reason why we got into the methodology is because it was the shell game.
Well, if you remember, I drafted up the first.
Yeah, it was a shell game. So, I
It
mean,
was, yeah.
everyone that's is on this board currently
Yeah.
had something to do with it.
Yeah. So,
Going along. I mean, it was because of frustration, not necessarily need, but frustration, because we couldn't get a consensus with the selectmen.
Yep.
That brought it to that point.
it is a very different board right now than it was back when.
Yeah, well, can I make a suggestion?
Fire away.
So, when you come up with this draft,
Yep.
when some of those charges can't be direct, you know, some, okay? So therefore, on those charges, we need backup.
Right.
So
Yes.
that would be in the draft. In other words, if it's not a direct charge, if it's an estimate
Yeah.
in good faith, we want the backup to prove that.
Right,
Okay.
and also to refine it for the following
Correct,
fiscal year.
yeah, so that's something that.
Yeah, no, I'm fully aware of that. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, one of the examples is accounting has a statistical base from which they can make a good faith estimate because they're processing invoices,
Yeah,
receipts.
they could be direct.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a couple in there that might
Yeah,
not.
and I'm, you know-
We need backup on
Yeah,
those.
I mean, when it comes to both Labor Council and Town Council, I want that as a full direct charge rather than some good faith estimate.
Well, we have all this, we have.
I know, I'm just saying, we want,
The one that's good is the.
Labor Council, you said before, yeah.
Yeah, the labor, yeah, he's under 10. And,
You should be, it's pretty straightforward.
well, yeah, no, I won't go into Galvin, but we know.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, the bottom line is,
So I guess
the enterprise funds are a means to allow us to have a good enterprise system.
Yeah.
It's not there to be
It's not a cash cow.
some people would think as the CPA fund is to start funding pet projects.
Okay, so I presume, I guess, do I have your permission to proceed, gentlemen? Mr.
Yes.
Chairman?
Yes.
I'm
Obviously,
open
I
for
see-
discussion.
Yeah. Okay. 7,
PFAS.
PFAS. Yeah, that's tabs 8. Anne Marie printed the executive summary, and I included as the first page in this discussion this list because I found it very enlightening to look at all of the categories in which the PFAS is involved, and it is voluminous, is the best way to phrase it. Secondly, Marshfield's PFAS actually is running quite well. We're low, we're well below the 20 ppt. And in point of fact, because we have a relatively low results to date so far, we are down to a single sampling per year now, as opposed to multiple samplings of other communities that are over the 20 parts per trillion have. That's a credit both to the work that this board has done in the past prior to my arrival, purchasing land and setting up exclusion zones that basically have kept development, houses, etc., any other way that might introduce this stuff clear. And so that's, yeah.
So what is the legislature doing?
The legislature is basically proceeding to, and it starts on the second page, they're going to fund PFAS detection and remediation. That's what their proposal is. That's going to be one of the strategies. The second will be to support environmental justice communities, basically recognizing that PFAS impacts are heaviest in minority, low-income, tribal, and indigenous populations. And also, the impacts are around those areas that have had airports, fire facilities, and/or military bases. They're going to expand the PFAS regulations, and that's going to be that they look to go beyond the current standards of the 6 PFASs that they currently deal with. They're going to encourage examining private well sites for the purposes of PFAS. They're going to support local firefighters and local departments because a lot of their turnout gear as well as the firefighting foams they were using were strong on this. In addition, they're going to be addressing PFAS contamination accountability, which basically will set up reasonable liability for claims for homeowners and municipalities and a continuing evaluation of claims against manufacturers that have used the PFAS. And then they want to go forth and enhance public awareness. We, as you know, as a board, back in the fall town meeting last year, put forth a bylaw revision which basically was going to control what entities could bring in the way of PFAS, either by not bringing any in at all because they could eliminate them, or by having methods which would prevent them entering into the soil so they can't get into the groundwater in Zone 2 and Zone 1, among other things. And the bottom line there is, I would think, with this piece of study from the state and the legislature, we should expect to see that bylaw be supported by the state. As of now, the state has yet to review any of our bylaws submitted by the town from the special town meeting. It will not be till after the start of the new fiscal year before they get to it, I'm told by town clerk. That sums up my discussion.
So
I have a comment. Go ahead, Bobby.
I have a comment. I mean, Dave, Marshall is lucky because the airport is not within the Zone 2.
True.
We don't have a firefighting academy here. We don't have anyone making signs and putting waterproofing membrane over it that causes the PFAS. I've seen a lot through the state, my regular job. Plus, I went to the PFAS conference back in April, and they had a good presentation by one guy that basically, you know, the who, what, where, when, why, and how PFAS came about. And the stuff, it just doesn't break down. I mean, you know, 4,000 degrees, it's still, anything less than 4,000 degrees is still there. It doesn't burn off like other things. The chemistry of it is unbelievable. And there's more than one. It's, you know, it's got your PTF, it's a PFAS, which is PFAS, then it's PTFE, then there's PFOS, then there's PFOA, then there's PFNA, then there's fluorotetramines, and then there's other processes, and it's up and down the line. It's not like it was like, you know, like a solvent where you can blow it off, or organic hydrocarbon. The stuff is just, and it stays. I've known one site that 30 years ago, the guy was making signs, he put a cover over it, and the PFAS is still exactly where the discharge, not from a spill, but from where it was vented, from the vent that went outside and landed on the ground next to it. And it's been leaching out there for the last 30 years. And it's like, it's a major program and that the EPA is pushing for, and they're pushing a lot of funding out to solve these. One of the communities that was out there in the air, in Hudson area, they're spending $3-4 million on water treatment, tertiary systems, just in the water system, just to pull the stuff out of it.
One well site in the air is $26 million.
It's unbelievable. So, I mean, if you live in Marshfield, we don't have a PFAS, count your blessings.
And as the...
I got a comment.
Well, one comment I want to follow that, if I might, which would be, and whatever you do, as this all moves forward, the products by their actual consumer names will eventually be identified, and you know, it's going to be incumbent on all of us as consumers to try and mitigate, to the extent we can, the use of those products when the time comes.
So before John jumps in, I'm going to make one last comment. Dave, we had discussed with the Board of Health about the issue of education. we were going to put it in the CCR report. But I do like the idea that those residents that are within a zone 2, that we do a separate letter. So I'm in favor of, education and basically narrow education within people that would
Focus it.
would be in a zone 2. So that's all I have to say, and John, you have the floor.
You got it,
Thank you.
John.
All right, so,
Just-
I almost forgot what I was gonna say, but I've got it written down. I think you all know that I'm a plumber for many, many years. So, in the plumbing industry, we do use Teflon tape, which has PFAS in it, Teflon pipe compound, and it goes right on the water lines, on the threads. So that's something that I could contact the board, plumbing board through Aldo, and see if something can be done with the Teflon tape and Teflon joint compound, and perhaps the other joint compound, because it's really used right at your faucet. Yeah, so that's that's really not gonna.
Well, and I look on the fact that most of the faucet controls today and stuff like that are also employing plastic or nylon or something
Yeah,
similar, and PFAS maybe in those.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And in addition to that, I wouldn't be surprised if PEX doesn't have some, and that's getting used more and more. And, the only thing I can think of in the current time frame for plumbing purposes right now that doesn't involve that is the copper compression joint makers instead. And I don't know if there isn't, in fact, a compression, tightening inducing compound that might have PFAS in it anyway.
The progress is talking. Yeah, it's also that the residents need to know, this PFAS is in the dental floss.
Yep.
It's in dental floss. You can go online and look for dental floss without PFAS in it. It's a little bit extra money, but it doesn't. So that's something, people are using dental floss, and there it is, there's PFAS right there. So it's in everybody anyhow, it's in your blood, it's worldwide. It's in everybody.
60 years.
Yeah, it is.
And just as a piece I saw reading online was from the Manchester Leader, your way, New Hampshire. And they were talking about the fact that the state is going forward now and going to actually push some more on using solid waste residual for the fertilizer, which Maine had to step away from because they actually had dairy farms get PFAS up above the state limit, at the federal limit at 70, excuse me. Which kind of surprised me when I saw that they're going to be using that sludge.
It's
from the wastewater treatment, I'm sorry.
It's a serious problem.
It is.
It's a lot of manufacturers, I mean, the federal government is pushing manufacturers to eliminate the use of it in their process. I mean, this has been going on for the last 10 years, but really it's coming up to life the last couple of years because it's in water supply systems.
Yep.
One of the big things that was, and I had sent Tom an issue, was it's in artificial turf.
Yep.
And the firefighters, it's in all their clothing and their protective stuff.
Yep.
And there's a cancer cluster amongst firefighters because of
PFOA.
because of the PFAS that's in their clothing that they wear all the time, and the vapors that it's comes off within the firehouse.
And in particular, the PFOA, and this hit home, has been found to be a potential cause of testicular cancer. And I have a son that moved into air 3+ years ago, and this July, he found out he had testicular cancer. And he was drinking the water before they got the protection system going.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The firefighters, that's what they were down in Nantucket. There was a whole thing on. So
he's okay now. I'm with that. He's probably listening. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So I think that's.
So we're lucky,
there with
we're
that.
lucky, but we do need
Thanks,
to
Dave,
have
for putting that together. Let's move on to the
education. Right.
Let's get to the superintendent. We get the minutes next. I'm sorry.
minutes.
Minutes?
And then we get Tom on deck. I have read through them
Me too.
tonight electronically, and I'm okay with them.
Yep. I am
So-
too.
Did you have a chance to read them, Mr. Shaughnessy?
No, but I had one comment that we had talked about was the 40
Which
dot development that's up at, that we had voted.
which set of minutes?
I'm not exactly sure.
I think it was the last minutes, right?
40B.
The
Wasn't that
40B, that we were going to have the consultant
on the water use?
on the water use, to draft something that we could give to the
That
ZBA.
wasn't on the agenda.
No, was that in one of these
We
minutes?
had discussed it at a previous meeting.
It wasn't on this meeting, was it? He's talking in the minutes,
Oh,
right?
another meeting today?
I believe it was the,
Our water consultant was going to put that letter together for us to submit to the plan.
Yeah.
okay, so we're still.
Was that part of this, was that these minutes or the prior minutes?
I think that was before that,
I
yeah. It
remember
was-
it on these because I listened to.
That was in the previous meeting, Mark.
Okay.
There wasn't a lot of,
All right, because there's a meeting tomorrow night, and,
For the planning board.
huh?
For what? For
For the ZBA.
ZBA, yeah.
Planning
I'm trying
is
to find the
tonight.
Tonight
minutes
was
for
tonight,
it,
yeah.
but they were in.
Okay, I'm okay with the
All right,
minutes.
I
I'm
move,
fine with the minutes.
okay, I move to approve the minutes of April 28th, 2022. I'm sorry, March 28th, 2022, April 25th, 2022, and April 26th, 2022. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, thank you. I had a meeting last week with a resident that has a handicapped child. She had requested to come before the board, but I thought that I could meet her out on site, find out exactly what she was interested in, and we could address it without having to come before the board. Save her that having to come here. So we met out there, we came up with a pretty good idea of what we're gonna do. We've identified both the Martinson School and the Daniel Webster as, I believe it's called the immersion program.
Yes.
And there are handicapped students that are at those two schools. So we're going to put what they call grass mats in so that they can access the equipment. So I'm going to do it at those two schools. We're also going to do it up at the Hills Fire Station.
Very good.
I have a CPC project at the Hills Fire Station ongoing, and I had an inspection done of the existing equipment, and it failed. And it was recommended that it be closed down and torn down. There's a little pushback from some of the residents up there, but we had a certified playground inspector do the job, and I'm confident that this individual did their due diligence so I've talked with CPC. What they like to do up there is a little bit more than what was allotted for the playground. But I did talk with the CPC representatives, and it's a little bit of money that we have in another balance that we could use towards this playground. And especially if it's going to involve the handicap accessibility. I think that's important.
Yeah, very important.
And, we've been lax on the playground inspections, and it's something that we have to do more frequently. It's a liability issue. If we don't do the inspections and somebody gets hurt, then we're liable. If we do the inspections and we don't close the playgrounds down and somebody gets hurt, we're liable there also. So as much as, we'd love to be able to, try to keep some of this equipment, but if it's not repairable, and it's going to cause us a liability issue, I think we need to address it and take care of what our responsibilities are. So that's the playground, that's Martinson and DWS are the two playgrounds there in the hills that we'll be doing some work in. And again, the fiber mulch needs to be upgraded annually, so that's another cost involved with the playgrounds. Willow Street, the water main, we're making the final connection on the water main on Willow Street, they're chlorinating. They'll be getting ready to open that line up. Ocean Street, the tap and sleeve was completed and a small piece of pipe was put in to get to the backside of the sidewalk at Morley Park. So that's in preparation to run that water main over the bridge to the bridle path, so we have redundancy over there in South River Street. And that's due to the fact that that line across the marsh was, it was compromised, so we can't use it, we had to shut it down. So Willow Street, and then this connection at the CVS at Morley Park will give us a loop redundancy. Potholes is ongoing, we're out just about every day doing potholes. The seawall project in Brant Rock is ongoing, they are on schedule. They're pouring about 50 feet a week of seawall. They're scheduled to finish up around the middle of June. As I mentioned earlier, the Winter Road Recovery Program, the town got money and we'll be paving from the center of town to Parsonage Street on Ocean, and then from Country Way to Adams Street on Ocean, down by Plymouth, that intersection there. The drainage swales on Union Street, we've been working on them the end of last week, and this week we'll be working up there. May 1st, we resume the equipment maintenance of the admin, fire, and police light vehicle fleets. Some of our light vehicle new purchases have started to arrive. The issue now is getting plates for them.
Yeah, there's two shiny new red trucks
Right,
back there.
they're all painted and lettered, and now we're just waiting on the registry to get us the plates. That's been an ongoing issue. There's also tree work ongoing throughout town. The rec center needs some work. There's some work up behind the art center up on Old Main. Up there, we gotta do some trimming up there, so. And throughout town, there's constant tree work ongoing. And 965 Plain Street, there's two drone videos that are on the construction webpage. If you go to that, you can see an aerial view of the construction over the last month or so that's been ongoing up there. They're pouring the walls, they're backfilling now. It's really starting to take shape, and you can see what it's going to look like, at least the skeleton of the building. So they're telling me that they'll have all of the utilities and perhaps the floor poured by the middle of July.
That'd be good.
So, and the building itself is, the metal building itself is due to start coming in different sections of the building in August. So once that starts, they put the tight tank in last week, and they'll do some rough paving. Originally, we were going to try to coordinate with them to do the top, but after our meeting last week, it was suggested that we wait, because once the crane comes in, it's going to dig up that top. So it makes sense that we just leave the binder there. We'll have to leave the castings up a little. Maybe if they have all the big stuff done with the cranes, maybe we could get the top in before the snow flies in the winter. So, and then we won't have to worry about protecting the castings.
Did you get the gas in?
The gas is not in yet, no.
That is the Eversource has been kind of dragging their feet on getting back to the project.
Yeah, because they're not local anymore.
No, we've had a lot of difficulty trying to deal with the gas side of those.
Yeah.
And they had
I mean,
issues
they
down
could go
at,
to a high pressure line,
Yeah,
that, you know, and just, none of the,
right.
one thing, Tom, I add is, the planning board tonight was reviewing Jedediah's path submittal for the extension that's going forward there. I know as part of our scope on that, the intent was to take out the traffic circle that's now there on the end of the cul-de-sac. What is the, I know, like, I can't think of the name of the development where Marcelli lives now, but, Old Barn Path, when that area was being built, that's the street it was up there, when that development was being built, they had a number of cul-de-sacs as they went forward, and then they turned them into circles. It left them. Is there a reason?
I don't know, but, there's, if you go down Hawley Road is one instance.
Yep.
There's a circle there, that section is private,
Yeah.
all right? It's an eyesore. And I think by eliminating that asphalt and making it just the width of the roadway, it's less asphalt in the future that needs to be addressed.
Okay, I get that, I get the logic behind it, but I mean, that circle is part of the accepted roadway for Jedediah's path that exists now. That was
Right,
part of the layout of the roadway,
Right.
accepted by the town.
but I mean, you go up through Stony Brook, it's
Yeah.
the same thing up there, little sections is a circle.
Yeah.
You go a little further, another
Well, I just
circle.
was looking at, I mean, I know that the new section, roughly, I want to say it's about 800 feet, is still beyond that circle, down into the area where they want to add the housing and the roadway, is actually already in the town's possession. That's, easement for the utilities, drainage, among other things.
Right.
According to the plans that I have. And I do know, the circle has a, beautiful flowering tree in it, and well grassed and stuff like that. I guess I was looking at it from the perspective of, it also becomes a nice place to deposit snow as opposed to in front of somebody's property.
Right,
That's the one plus to it I could see. I mean, it's more than large enough. That was designed so the quint could move around.
yeah. No, and I know that was a concern of Rod's, is how the bigger trucks would make that turn.
Well, I watched Republic go right around there the other day when I was there. It was happened to be their trash day. They had no issues, except for all the people that had come because I was there and talked about but anyway, that is before the planning board tonight, and the engineering comments I know were submitted.
What did engineering say?
They basically, they did not want to deviate from the 49-foot layout that's there now and the width of pavement that's there, which was a waiver request that would have to be made by the thing. Basically, the as-built for Jedediah's path as a whole was going to be imposed upon going forward, for the piece that comes in. That's basically what engineering said as I read it.
So they're going to change the circle?
The change to the circle, is a preference, I know that, from a public works standpoint for ease and access and maintenance. But plowing beyond the town's taking, I can't picture that falls on us. That becomes basically...
Well, if it's a private way,
Well,
it's not an
it's-
accepted roadway.
It should not, it wouldn't be an accepted roadway. It's not going to be accepted because it's not on the accepted list.
Right.
How are we against taking out the circle?
Huh?
I don't want to make it a public statement. I'd be against taking the circle.
Yeah, I'm in favor of leaving it as well, but I will defer to the people that are going to have to do the work after we're long gone.
I mean, it's been there for a long time.
We can
It's functional.
modify, if you want the circle, we can modify our.
I mean, it's only just a little bit piece of land. It's going into that private, it's just around it and out and then back. And then all the residents are going to disturb and give heartbreak to a lot of people up there. No,
Yeah.
leave it alone.
All right,
Okay, I guess that would be our general direction to you. Of course, that is a battle that will ultimately be decided at the planning board and then the ZBA.
right.
But all we can do is our input.
Take care of that.
Yeah. Thanks,
Mr.
Neil.
Chairman, can I bring up something? We have an emergency.
Name and address, please.
Henry Matthews, Gibson Terrace.
Yep.
I'm one of those fellows that does the senior tax relief work down to Coast Guard Hill. and we have an emergency situation down there that needs tree work right away. Talk about liability.
I told him.
I have
It's gonna
some
be done
pictures.
tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Excuse me, Dave.
I have some pictures if you'd like to see them of the work that has to be
I
done.
know, I've got pictures.
We need to name and address.
He did, he said.
Yes,
Oh.
Gibson Terrace.
Yeah.
We've got people, 30, 40 people a day are coming down, are going up the stairs, up to the top. We've got trees down there, we've got trees laying across here, trees are going to fall, as they say, I have the pictures right here. Talk about liability. If you remember last year, so the people that own the Dunkin' Donuts in Abington were driving through Rockland, and the tree came down that the town didn't address, and it cost the town millions of dollars when those people got killed. And we have all kinds of people using the property down there.
You said you got that number, Tom?
I got that email today, and the tree
Okay.
crew will be there tomorrow morning.
There's your answer, sir. Did you hear that?
I'd like to meet you there.
The tree crew will be there tomorrow morning. I have a certified arborist,
Yeah,
so they're well aware of it. They're gonna go in.
have they seen it yet? You
Yes,
see what
they
has to be done?
Yes, they have.
Oh, good, because I'll be down there, I have a doctor's appointment and sandwich at 8:30.
Okay.
And I'll be back. I do senior tax relief down there, this is my 5th year down there. I'm the fellow that brought in the buoys in the island, I got those donated from the Coast Guard 5 years ago, my first year. And last year I got the bench donated for Ned Bangs, the granite bench at the top of the hill, it's inscribed. I don't know if you people have seen it or not. So the place is a beautiful place. You just had an Easter egg hunt. They had about 750 people there. Now there's hundreds of people using the new playground. You get down, there's 5 or 6 cars in the morning, easily, every single day, with people with kids using that area. So it's something that's got to be addressed right away.
So they'll be there tomorrow morning.
I mean, that's under the control, that property's under the custody and control of the Recreation Department.
No, we maintain it.
I know we maintain it, but that,
It's
Property is all-
Recreation's property,
Yeah,
but
right.
we maintain.
but I mean,
cut
did the
grass,
Recreation
trees.
Supervisor bring this to our attention at all?
They did.
Okay, that's what I'm.
Yeah, it was Craig that sent the email to me
Okay,
with pictures.
very good, okay. I just want to make sure they're communicating. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
As I said, it's all public money, it just comes out of a different pocket from where it's addressed. But
Yeah, I understand the budgeting, no?
I know you do, I know you do. And as I say, this emergency situation, I wouldn't need it.
You've heard the superintendent is
We'll be
already
out
on.
there tomorrow morning.
Great.
Yeah, okay. Anything else, gentlemen?
I have a list of roads that need attention I can just give to Tom.
Please, yeah,
Okay.
very good. John, anything else?
No, pleasure.
Okay. All right, motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Dave,
Second.
you want to say
All in
one next-
favor?
Excuse me. Dave. The
Thank you
next
for your
meeting is
service.
May
Let's
23rd.
stop.
The next meeting is May 23rd.
No, I'm sorry, yes, our next meeting is May 23rd, 2022. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.